Give me just one day.
Fluent and chill. What it takes, stay real. Chill town, hoop sports, fluent with the feel. Break down sharp like a highlight reel. Welcome to the show, we stay fluent and chill.
Do you like the new intro? Do you like the? You got to admit you like the new intro.
It is dope. I do like it. Yes, sir.
Do you like the background? Did you? I don't know if you noticed the jerseys.
I did. 2026. Yes,
2026.
sir.
Yes,
It
sir.
is dope.
I know. I was like that. You're number 20 now, and I'm like, no, I'm not number 20 now. It's because I'm 2026 because this is season 2026.
Yes, that's what we're doing here.
That's all I'm saying. You know. Ooh, I got so many things to complain and rant about. I'll be honest with you, I'm not even ready. I have nothing. I'm supposed to have graphics and stuff. I've got nothing today.
Zero, zilch.
It's just gonna be us talking, and for TikTok, you never get to see the pictures anyways. So you're not gonna care too much. Thank you. See, nice intro. See, I told you. I don't even know where to start.
Let's start by, for those of you that don't know, Fluent, that's my man right here. That's him. Yeah, that's me. Chill, right here. Yep, that's me. So we are in effect. Absolutely. This is what we do on Tuesday nights right here on Chill Town Hoops. We talk pro basketball. We talk college basketball. We talk all types of basketball. So tonight we are going to start with somebody who says it's not over, Tone. I want to start with somebody who says it's not over anytime soon. Steph Curry has made it clear, Tone, that he is not over, that he is not interested in retiring, because he says, quote, when you start to think about retiring and you look ahead to retiring, you forget what's right in front of you. Which is legit.
That's not crazy.
I don't think it is at all. I don't. My question to you, Tone.
Yes.
Because you are like, I'm sitting in Tone's seat for a second. Tone is on. Tone is normally the Bob Costas of this, but I'm sitting in Tone's seat. How many more years do we have of Steph Curry?
How many more years do we as the NBA have of Steph Curry, or how many more years does the Golden State Warriors have of Steph Curry?
How many more years does the NBA have of Steph Curry?
He's 37?
Yes, he'd be 38 next month.
I would give him 2 to a maximum of 3 years. And the third year being us barring like no injuries, no nothing.
Yep.
And he's going to play a lesser role. But he'll probably play his dad's role.
Turn into just a buck, just turn into a spot up shooter, stationary shooter.
Yeah. Somebody else is going to be the which, look, for a lot of his career, it's not like he was the main facilitator anyways.
Sure.
But there's someone else who's going to be handling the workload. I think you'll see his field goal numbers, attempts go down. And yeah, he'll be I would love to. Could you imagine he accepts a role where he's just like the occasional drive to the basket, of course, because he's a great ball handler.
Yeah.
But more of he could actually maybe even bring up the ball a little bit more and facilitate the offense, and then kind of curl off and then get that pass back after whatever they run for a shot. And when defenses are now not focused on him, like this is a guy who I could legitimately see for a season shooting 45-50% from three.
Would that be because the attempts have gone down and I'm shooting like 6 a game?
He can probably shoot like 8 a game, but the defenses can't, like, you'll have to set up a roster where the defenses aren't focused on him. So if he's bringing it up, kicking it to whatever offense, let's say they're using a triangle type offense, which is the motion offense, right? He's going left, he's then cutting through and curling back. As the ball gets reversed back to him, the defenses aren't ready. The best they can do is one-on-one. He's knocking those down.
Now, here's my question though to you, Tone, because
here's a 40+% shooner being double teamed.
No doubt. 40. Now, here's the problem that I'm having, Tone. Okay, we do play in an enormously athletic league, right?
Yes.
Bunch of super duper athletes, and we play in a mismatch hunting league. So Curry, already being at that age, at that advanced age, okay, he might be a little bit deficient in that stuff. So how can we hide him? How can we protect him from being the mismatch? How can we protect him from getting hunted as much as we do? The shooting, I don't think, if you've always been that, it's not like athleticism. I think that, Tone, you can still shoot today. Like, I don't think that goes anywhere, right? What I'm thinking about is, I'm thinking in terms of volume, and it's not just in volume, in terms of production. because as long as he's in the league, I personally think he's going to be like James. I think he's going to be like KD. He's going to always be looked upon to produce at that level. He's never going to just be a guy like when Ray Allen got on the Celtics, where he was a spot-up shooter and a guy who came off screens and was able to knock down shots. No, he's going to always be looked at as being the man. And you know why, Tone? Because we're going to see nights where he still can give.
He's going to drop 35 on you. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's absolutely going to happen. So when we get those nights from him, immediately, well, is he still got the good? Does he still have the goods? Can he still be the man? When in reality, he doesn't still have that. Unfortunately, he's going to always be looked upon like that. So I personally think, Tone, I'm looking at this level where he is now, I'll give him one more year, maybe two tops.
Well, see, you didn't ask me at this level. You said, how many more years of Steph do we have?
Right.
Which is 2 to 3. At this level, it's probably this year and next.
That's as far as I'm going. Now,
I agree.
As far as him being in the NBA, I think he could play another 2, maybe 3 more years.
Yeah.
I think he could easily do that and segue into that role. Now, the question is he going to be able to handle, one, being in a reduced role and being comfortable in being in a reduced role and allowing the noise about him not being that guy anymore to die down?
I think him more than anybody will, if there's someone who can step in and be the next guy. Yeah. Like if there's someone on the team that is clearly, hey, I'm the best player. Like if you look at the Golden State Warriors right now, he's the best player on the team. So for him to take a reduced role on this team doesn't make sense because he's the best player on the team.
Right.
But if you bring in a new best player of the team, we've seen it. When KD came in, he did, I don't think he did, but he took on the lesser role and said, hey, you're a scorer here. I'll let you have as many shots as I take. In fact, probably more shots than I take. And I think aren't fortunate like I am to have younger kids. I went and saw the movie GOAT yesterday with my children here in Canada. It was family day, so it was a holiday. Nice. So we went in, we caught an afternoon matinee, and we saw GOAT. And GOAT is a story of the best player in the league, Jet, a Panther, I believe, who is on her last legs. And she is struggling with giving up, passing the torch to the new young gun on the team.
Before you go any further, Tone, just so you know, guys, the voice is played by Gabrielle Union. So,
is that who that was? I didn't know it was Gabrielle.
That was Gabrielle Union. But continue, Tone.
Yeah, okay, it's actually interesting because the GOAT, who's an actual GOAT, so the young kid, the GOAT, is Will Harris, played by, I forget his first name, Terry, I think, McLaughlin. He's the kid from Stranger Things. But I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure the giraffe, the tallest one on the team, is actually Steph Curry's voice. So I found that kind of funny. I was like, what? But anyways, but it's a whole story about exactly that. And so I think mentally he is more able, willing, ready to step into that role if someone comes in and says, hey, I got this. Right. And like I said, because we saw it with KD. So I think he'd be, we or fans in general, I think we would have a harder time seeing him dropping 12 a game and being like, oh my God, what happened to Steph Curry? He changed the game. No, but I think for him, he just loves playing basketball. I think he would be okay with it. He'd tell you, no, we're good.
Yeah, I could get with that, Tone. I just think that with him, he's always going to be looked at like James. As long as James is around, as long as KD is around, as long as these guys are around, it's going to always be that level of competitiveness. Can you still win? Can you still be the man? When in reality, those days are probably over, but I could still contribute. Right, I could still contribute to a championship team. That's not to say I'm not like Mitch Richmond, where I'm playing in 2002 for the Lakers and I'm hardly playing and I'm basically stealing a championship on the way out the door. No, I don't think that we're going to get to that point with him. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I just think that with him, as good as he's always been, people are always going to see him in that light. They're never going to see him as just another player in the league.
But here's the bigger thing. Is he going to do that? Is he going to do that on the Warriors? Because the businessman in me says he's making how much?
$60 million. $62 million.
For how many more years?
2 more seasons.
Can I afford to play a guy who, if I'm going to move off from him, $60 million to be a spot-up shooter?
No.
Be the second or third best. And could I convince another team to take on, let's say 2 more years, that's $120 million,
Yep.
to take on the greatest shooter in the history of basketball to get them over the hump for a championship, get him a couple more, get them one, maybe their first one. And now I can use that as draft picks, young player, et cetera, et cetera. Do I move on from him? As blasphemous as that sounds, from a business perspective, do I capitalize on him? Look, is he and the Warriors, with him as the best player, are they going to win another championship? Now, I know we said this a couple of years ago and then they went and did it, but I think this time, is he as the best player on the team going to win another championship? And if your answer is 99% no, then you got to start looking about moving him, as crazy as that sounds, because you want to retire him there and retire his number and put up a statue and all that stuff that, you know how I feel about all that. He probably deserves.
He does. With that being said, though, Tone,
you notice I still said probably.
Yeah, probably. Even though he's the best player in the history of their organization. Yeah, probably. That's nuts. But Tone, to combat your point really quickly, can you afford to keep paying him like this? Maybe you can. And the reason why is because he is box office. He is box office. And my nephew, Fluent Jr., he loves him still to this day. And he's 30 and he'll be 38 years old next month. So if my nephew Fluent Jr. loves him in Canada, they still love him in San Antonio, and they still love him in Charlotte, and they still love him in New York.
It's one of those like divorce things. It might be cheaper to keep her.
It might be cheaper to keep him. I promise you that. Yes, sir, Tony. It might be cheaper to do that. Now, the downside to this is if you are moving off of him and you want to accommodate him to a winner. Well, number one, they're going to have to give up a substantial amount for you
100%.
to be for this to be okay with you, right? They're going to have to give up a substantial amount for you.
Sure.
That, which means that I'm probably not going to be a contender like that. Like if it doesn't happen, you see what's going on with Houston with KD. More times than not, if I got to give up all of that to get Steph Curry, we probably aren't going to be that good. But if I keep him here, I'm going to sell tickets. I'm going to sell merch still. He's still going to be box office still. We may even still make the playoffs once or twice if I can get somebody else in here.
But they're in a better situation. And here's why. For the first time in a long time, they have all their first-round picks.
Which is good.
They also have a big expiring contract in Jimmy Butler. They have a big contract in Draymond Green, which I also believe is expiring, I believe soon, if not, yeah. So they could actually, if they decided, no, we can win with his $60 million, they actually have the draft capital and the money to bring in who knows who, a Giannis, a whatever, to make one more run and set them up for the future. Like they could pull off, nothing's crazy. Since Luka got traded, nothing's crazy. They can pull off a Luka type deal that brings in the next superstar for the future. You just got to find out which franchise is not 100% sold on their franchise player, paying him a max, $400 million contract. And if you find a little bit of weakness, jump on it. And then you might, the Lakers, to their credit, say what you want to say about their roster, and that's a whole story for another day, but they did the right thing in moving Anthony Davis for Luka, no matter what it did for the team in the short term. Well, now you got your long-term next guy, right? That was the Lakers' problem in the past with Kobe. There was no plan after Kobe. And that's what I'm afraid of, because if the Warriors move on.
I'm laughing, Tone, because there couldn't be more. They had no plan after Bryant.
No plan.
They had no idea what we were doing.
Play forever.
What are you doing? You can't see, break it down.
Games. Yeah, we're losing games. We're not making the playoffs. He's playing on one leg.
What are you guys
doing? And the thing is, so now you move on. If you do that with Curry, Golden State is not, people think because they've been so great over the last 10, 15 years with Steph and Clay and Drake, they're not
destination where players used to want to go. They weren't good.
Easily go back to being the Warriors.
They can go back to being them like that.
Very well go back to being.
They got to be really, really careful,
Yes,
especially if there's no draft.
Yeah. Damn, Tone. That's a really interesting point that you made because nobody really talks about that. The Lakers had no plan with Bryant.
None.
They had this. I'm watching him every year breaking down, and I'm like, you guys do know that he's not going to play forever. That time is coming. So what's the plan moving forward with this guy? Like, who is his predecessor? Who are you bringing in here to supplement this? And then this is the guy we're moving on with. They had nobody.
Nothing.
Kobe's going to play for another 5 or 6 more years. No, he isn't. He is not.
Yeah, he's gonna have a resurgence and come back again at after 20 years.
It's interesting, Tone, that you bring up teams and players because there was a team who you love that was originally stationed in Buffalo. They moved to Los Angeles. Yeah, originally stationed in Buffalo, and they moved to Los Angeles. And arguably their best player, if not their best player in the history of their organization, talked about his untimely exit out of La La Land when he was brought back. So, Tone, he said, quote, Lawrence Frank told me I was being a great leader a week before they sent me home. He's on record saying this. Lawrence Frank told me that I was being a great leader, quote, unquote, before they sent me home. Tone, how bad did the Clippers screw this up with Chris Paul?
Not at all. Not at all. Lawrence Frank lied to him and told him what he needed to hear. That's what coaches do. Listen, when you're an asshole, part of my language, your whole career, eventually it comes back on you. And he got what in the end, what he deserved for being an a-hole.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Chris Paul will go down as a top 15 point guard in the history of basketball. Some will have him higher, some will have him a little lower, but I think top 15 is safe. No one's going to argue he's somewhere in the top 15. I think out of the top 5, but I also don't think in 15 to 20 range, personally. I think if you have him anywhere kind of 8 to 15, I'm cool with that. But the stories you hear, the things he does, the things he says behind people's back, even the stuff you see, like the when he did that, he had that interaction with Steve Kerr where Steve Kerr said something, in jest, and he goes, and then turns and goes, that kind of dude, execs don't like. Right. The kind of dude who talks to players behind the head coach's back and backstabs them. He was told by Lawrence Frank what Lawrence Frank needed to tell him to try and just de-escalate the situation. That's what coaches do. I had a player. I'm not gonna even say what year it was, even if it was this year, in case they're listening. But you coach players and they're ass. Like they're playing. I don't mean in general. Like they're having a bad game. What do you tell them? Keep your head up. Keep shooting. Hit this. Keep doing those little things. It'll come around. You have to say that. You can't say you're playing like crap. Go sit down. Yeah. Although sometimes you like to say that, and sometimes you do. But Chris Paul was talking behind their backs. He was being a jerk. It's been well established. Now, am I happy in the way that he just kind of got retired by the league? And everyone said, we don't even like the Raptors traded for him and said, we're good. No, I think that's a horrible way for a top 15 point guard in the history of basketball to be thrown out of the league. But I don't think the Clippers messed it up because the second they got rid of them, they started winning games.
I don't think that's a coincidence, Tone. To be
it's
quite
not,
honest with you,
it's not. It can't be a coincidence. I know maybe some players got healthy too and whatever. But if all the players are complaining and telling you, hey, he's talking behind your back, he's telling us to not listen to the coach, what do you expect? And I don't think he made a lot of friends. Decline that. I don't think he made a lot of friends as the player union rep either.
I mean, that's part of it.
He allowed the second apron thing to come in.
Yeah, he did.
They all hate.
Right. But you also are the guys who voted for me to be the president of the union. So this isn't a situation where I just took the job over. No, you guys voted for me to be.
He's a smart guy, but I think he got duped a little.
Tone, I'm gonna be the other side of this argument, and
absolutely.
I'm gonna be on the other side of this argument. Number one, it's the Clippers. Like I don't expect anything less. It's the Clippers. It's who the Clippers
if you don't expect them to screw it up, you're something wrong with you.
It's the Clippers. Like what as much as they've been in the playoffs for the last 14 years and they've done this in the postseason, they're still the Clippers. Absolutely. But with that being said, Chris Paul being the leader that he is. Tone, leadership is not for the weak. And you're not going to make everybody happy when you're a leader.
That's
right. You're not going to make everybody happy when you're a leader. So there are some people who he ruffled feathers the wrong way. And there are some people who did not appreciate his style of leadership. But I tell you what, when we're trying to get somewhere, it's not going to always be pretty. It's not going to always be nice. Now, that doesn't mean that he doesn't mean well, right? This isn't the drunk father that's whooping on you but saying that I love you. No, this isn't that dude. This is the guy who we're actually trying to get somewhere. And if I got to get in your ass and I got to scream on you, then I'm going to do that if that's going to make you play better. Sure. And that's part of who Chris Paul is. But Chris Paul never really struck me in terms of a leader as the type of guy who I'm not going to tell you to do something that I wouldn't do first. He never struck me as that type of dude. He always struck me as the type of leader, as the type of player that if I'm in the foxhole with you, and there's nothing that I'm going to tell you to do that I'm not going to do first. I'm in this battle with you, and I got your back. As much as I need you to have my back, I got your back. But thinking about the Clippers, and I'm thinking about who they are, this thing could have been handled so much differently, Tone. And what I mean when I say that is, this is the best player in the history of your organization. With this being the best player in the history of your organization, yes, you still have James Harden here. You still have Kawhi Leonard here. So the idea is for us to possibly still win something. Chris Paul being a part of that, immediately he thinks he's got to interject that. Well, maybe we should sit down and have a conversation before we bring him back. Listen, this is your swan song. We need you to basically just be along for the ride. That's really all it is, along for the ride. The Chris Paul of old, I think that guy is retired. It's fine to just be old Chris Paul. Because also, Tone, it ain't a coincidence that when he left San Antonio, even though he did help them out a lot, how much better did they get? Right? So with that being said, with him being with the Clippers, if we sat down and had this conversation that this is what your role is going to be,
right?
We don't need you to be the rah-rah guy in everybody's face and constantly calling out coaches and things like that. No, those days are over. You're over in that space.
They almost needed to move him into a kind of Tree Rawlings type of you're sitting on the bench in a uniform, but you're actually an extension of the coaches. And we, if we're going to have disagreements, it needs to be behind closed doors between us, and then collectively we go give the players that message. We can't have you saying A, B when we're saying X, Y.
Right.
We can't. And I think that's what ended up happening is that he, thought of himself still as that rah, I'm going to get in your face and tell you what to do on a team with that many players, with that many vets. I can see how it rubbed some people the wrong way, but also some the right way. Like, let's be clear, for as many people as, would say something negative about Chris Paul, there's probably just as many that would say positive things. And so that's why I say I'm torn, because I feel like, hey, we're going to just sit you here and we want you to be part of the team. And, we're going to, the teams are going to give you, farewell gifts, and they'll put you in a rocking chair like they did. I think Kareem, they gave him a rocking chair.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm like, we're gonna, we want to respect you and, honor what you did for this franchise, because we don't have a lot to honor. Let's be honest. We're the Clippers. But at the same time, we have a unit that we feel can contend and go make a deep playoff run. So we need to find a way to mix those two. Can you handle that? And if the answer is no, I need to be a main part of the team, then okay, they could have said, then don't come back.
But
ahead of time.
Everything that you're saying, Tone, is how it should have gone.
It should have gone. Yes, it should have.
Everything that you're saying is how it should have gone. Only except it's the Clippers.
Right.
And I'm pretty confident that it did not go that way. In fact,
they told him, come sign with us. You could be a big part of what.
Probably with the complete opposite way of that. To your point, they lied to him. You're going to come here and you're going to be an integral part of what we're doing. You're going to be in the rotation. You're going to get some significant minutes. You're probably not going to play 20, 25 minutes a night, but you are going to get some significant minutes in some significant spots, which now leads him to think that, I'm still a part of this. And we can possibly win if I play up to that level. I think he turns 41 this month, Tom.
He was thinking him, Harden at the 2, Kawhi,
Collins.
Collins. Yeah, hey, I'm in that mix of those. Maybe not starting minutes or starter minutes, but I'm going to be in at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yes,
I'm going to make the right decisions. I'm going to make open shots. I'm going to hit free throws. Like he probably thought of that, not just, oh, I'm that guy.
Tone, what does this mean moving forward for players? Because we got some players, Tone, that have been in the league for a long time, and they've been with specific teams. So what does this mean for players moving forward? Is this a cautionary tale that, okay, this is not how you treat your players moving forward? I mean, Draymond's been with the Golden State Warriors for 14 years. Steph has been there for 17 years, right? So is this a cautionary tale for teams moving forward?
It's a cautionary tale for players. Draymond Green's going to wake up one morning traded, and no one's going to say a damn thing to him. And he's going to go on his podcast and talk smack and tell you all the dirty laundry from the past 20 years of the Warriors.
Yep.
And among others, I think, look, Nerd Sesh, I believe is his name.
Carson.
Sorry?
Carson is his name.
Carson. Okay. I don't know them. Someone sent me this thing from today where he's saying Adam Silver is the worst commissioner in the history of the NBA, blah, 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 blah. And I went, bro, in my head, I was like, hold on. And we're going to get to Adam Silver in a second. But I said, bro, like, look at the NBA's revenue since he took over. With the exception of COVID, it's literally a graph like this. And anyone in business knows if it goes up and to the right, I don't care. Everything's all right.
We're doing all right.
I don't care. I don't care. So as long as the team is making money and they don't, it's a business at the end of it. It's a business. And so everyone will tell you there's no loyalty. I think James Harden said there's no loyalty. Why do I care about loyalty? You're right. There isn't. And it works both ways, right? We expect it from players, but then we understand, oh, it's a business and the team isn't going to be. It's not a good thing. Let's be clear. It's not a good thing, but it's a cautionary tale for players that they don't care. You can give them 20 years of service, and then if you piss them off, bye. And guess what? No one else wants you either.
I think, Tone, that I think this is a two-way street because, to your point, organizations, they do, even though there is the logic of not being loyal, there are teams that want to do right by their guys. And
until they don't.
Yeah, but I do think that there's teams. I mean, the Lakers. I feel like they did right by Bryant. I do. I feel like they did right by him. I feel like they did.
I think that's very much an exception, if I may. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that's an exception because it is of an extension of Dr. Buss.
Yeah,
he wasn't the typical owner, right? He wasn't rich.
Yep.
Right, they didn't have any money. If you look at all their stuff, their head office, they don't have money. That's why they had to sell. And now you're seeing the new owners be like, "Well, we're going to bring in a whole new executive team, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that." And scouting, they didn't have money. One of their players signed, LeBron, had higher net worth than the owner.
That's not good.
So they're an exception because they were really a family business, which isn't true anymore.
Yeah.
So when you look at the reality of it. The Lakers did Chris Paul dirty. Everybody else is
Dallas. You think Dallas did Luka dirty also?
100%. I think the majority of the time, I think you'll see the team. I had one in my head and it slipped my mind, unfortunately. But for the most part, you're not. You're just they're not going to do. They're not going. Oh, Portland. That's the one I was going to think of. Portland. Dame wanted to go to Miami. They could have found a way to get Dame to Miami, and they said, got a better deal in Milwaukee. Peace.
Well, wait a minute, Tone. We as a business, and you're a businessman, just so you guys at home know,
doing right by him would be sending him to Miami.
100%. But in the end, this does also have to work for me too, being in business. We will see. No doubt about that. So I got a super chat from Teddy Hart here. Teddy Hart says, "Apologies for being off topic, Fluent Chill. Please don't lead the witness. In 1987, who was the best individual player in the world?"
In 1987?
1987, who was the best individual player in the world?
For me, Magic.
Now, just so you know, Teddy, I didn't say anything to him. I'm not leading the witness. And also, the question that you asked, you're asking a question to a Magic guy. He was looking for Jordan. That's who he was looking for.
He could be in the conversation.
Yes, That's who he was looking for.
Sure.
He was looking for Jordan. Just like I said that I thought it was Magic in 87. And the reason why was because the guys got on me today, because he had sent this in and asked the question earlier, and he had asked me, and the guys got on me when I said Magic, because I said Jordan wasn't as polished. As good as he was in 87 and 88 in terms of a offensive player, there still was a lot of flaws in Jordan's game. Magic at that point,
people forget in 87 he was a lot more athleticism. That like he didn't have, he did not have the footwork, even the handle. Like he worked, it was better than in college. Like he definitely worked on it, but it wasn't to the point yet where it was his mid-range was not. He was not the mid-range assassin. He didn't have the fadeaway jump shot yet. Like again, athleticism through the roof and a lot of other things. Don't get me wrong, still great. You're still putting him top 3, top 5, whatever. But no, but I think again, you can make a case. Don't get me wrong, but he wasn't the same guy who like when we talk about Jordan at his peak, there's one thing that I always tell people: the fundamentals, the no wasted steps. He would do things with 2 steps and 1 dribble that guys today can't do with 5 steps and 7 dribbles. Like it was just no wasted movements, and that's when he was at his best. And even though the athleticism might have, I don't want to say declined, but it was like, maybe plateaued,
kind of leveled off. Sure.
Yeah. It was all the other little things, like he gambled a lot in 87, which it led to steals, but it also led to a lot of times where he jumped and there was a man open for a jump shot or a passing for an open shot or a layup. So as much as he got steals, probably for every 2 of those steals, maybe there was one where it's like he jumped it and it was passing.
I think a lot of people look at Jordan in 87 and 88 and the aesthetics, very much like the conversation that I have about Donovan.
Oh, he looked great.
That's what I'm talking about, Tone. Very much the conversation that I have about Donovan Mitchell and Anthony Edwards. On the surface, when you watch Jordan in 1987, when you watch him in 88, this guy is polarizing. You just can't take your eyes off him. He looks fantastic. Now, when you start to dig into his game a little bit more and you start to watch that his handle going to his weekend isn't as good, right? His jump shot,
and it doesn't mean it was bad. Like, because everyone thinks like the problem with NBA discourse, I believe, today is no one can accept that their players, 1, aren't perfect, and 2, weren't always perfect.
That's what they.
And let's be very clear: there's not one perfect player. And there was not one who's been perfect their entire career. There was things they had to get better at. And so to the point that you're making, aesthetically he looked great, but there were things he could get better at.
There was things that he did get better at.
He did get better. Like you said. Oh yeah, you said going to his left. It's not like he couldn't go. Like when people say he had no left, he couldn't go left. No,
he could put the ball in his weekend.
He was better. He was better going to his right. So if you had to choose, he's 100% going to his right. He's 90% going to his left. Well, I'm going to take him left because that's the lesser of 2 evils. That doesn't mean he was bad and couldn't do it. It just means it's the lesser of 2 evils.
What bugs me out is, again, we had this conversation earlier, is that when Jay was in when Jay was early on in his career, because the idea was, he had 63 in a playoff game. He was awesome in that, and I'm not going to argue that point. Yes, he was awesome in that playoff game. Just so we clear, LeBron James in 2007 had 30 points, 29 unanswered points in the Eastern Conference Championship. We haven't seen that before he did it and since he did it. Nobody has done that. With that being said, James had a lot of flaws in his game. But
he had a ton of flaws in his game.
He had a lot of flaws in his game. But aesthetically, it looked like he was on fast forward. Like when you remember, Tony, the VCR where you put it on fast forward. That's what it looked like with James.
Regular.
Yes, it looked like everybody else was running in regular motion. So the same logic when it comes to Jordan, it was aesthetically, it was just so awesome. I'm having a difficult time now thinking about it, like a 3rd-year guy and a 9th-year guy, because Magic, we're in 87, so we're in like year 8 or 9. A 3rd-year guy where it looks great is clearly better than the 9th-year guy. And no, that wasn't going on. Now, when we're talking about later on, like 88, 89, 90, when he started to pass Magic, I felt like, okay, I 100% could get with that because his game got better. But like in year 3, no, he had a lot of flaws in his game, and he wasn't there yet. We was getting there.
And let's be clear. So because he sent another super chat. So I'll address this quickly. So just so you know, on NBA season preview before 86-87 season kickoff, Magic is called. I'm assuming his quote is saying MJ is the most talented in the league, and Larry called him probably the greatest player. Neither said the best if we're playing semantics, but still, yes,
Right.
absolutely. Because back in those days, one, more so than I think today, but sometimes even today, players had respect for great players. And they could see he was great. And he was, let's be honest, Jordan probably was more talented, and they're probably talking athletically as well, more talented. Like, let's be clear, at least in when our generation, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, what we mean by talent is God-given. It's things that you didn't have to work for. That's talent. So when you look at a Larry Bird wasn't born with just natural athleticism and ability to be great. He had to work, and his best attributes were skill-based, things he had to work on to be better. Magic as well. If you think about it, Magic's 6'9", but not super athletic.
Nope.
Right? He wasn't born, but he had this incredible court vision. That was probably something he was born with. But the rest of it, any of the other stuff, is stuff that he had to work on. Whereas when you look at Jordan was very much like given this advantage over some players, especially of that era, that he could, he actually said this. He said, you know why I love golf so much? You can't stop thinking. If you stop thinking for 1 second in golf, you lose. And he said, and I quote Teddy, and again, this is not a knock on him, but he said, sometimes in basketball, I can just zone out and let my athleticism take over. So that's where I think the difference between talent and skill. So you can still be the most talented. There's probably players right now that are more talented than whoever you think is the best player in the league. But their skill level, their understanding of the game, their basketball IQ, it's a combination. Their fundamentals.
We're still trying to put that together. Like it ain't there yet.
Those things come together. A lot of times we see players that are super talented.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder why they just can't be consistent.
Sure. And
consistency. I had this argument with you or conversation with you early years. Remember Jason Tatum?
Yeah.
You were like, he's so good. And I'm like, yeah, but he can be so bad. And what he needs to do is bring that floor up and be more
that
consistent.
together.
And that's how you become great.
Yeah. We're trying to put it together.
Yeah, that's where I think he was still, again, it's not a knock on him. He's still great. He's still wonderful. He's still talented. Just not the best, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
It's interesting you mentioned talent, Tone, because like we have a league that's full of young, talented kids, right?
100%.
But we also have a commissioner who wants to possibly, not completely, but possibly get rid of the draft process so these young, talented kids can come into the league. Is this a good idea, Tone?
Okay. Is it okay? I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth for a second.
Okay.
So it can be a good idea. I don't think I would do it if I was commissioner. Wouldn't sign off on it. However, there is a way that if your biggest issue, so you have to answer this question. If your biggest issue is tanking, then this does solve it. And there's a way you can do it that it could work.
I'm listening.
So let me explain.
Yeah.
So they eliminate the draft, and everyone that goes through the paperwork. Now, I would suggest that they then implement a certain, you need to do this before you can get into the league, because I would like to make players play more years in college again or overseas. But that's a different conversation. However, so
actually, Tone, it's not a different conversation because this again is called a job requirement.
100%.
No, it's not.
You got to do this.
Yes.
So yeah, for sure.
It's a job requirement, 100%.
I want to stick to the draft part because it's complicated, but so we're eliminating the draft and we're saying no more draft. Everybody who qualifies to be a player is a free agent.
Yep.
No problem. And everyone's concern is, well, then everyone's just going to go to the X and Y and Z. Well, why do they want to go to those teams? Well, historically, it's because they're good and they win. So again, if we're using the baseline of if your biggest issue is tanking, this then eliminates tanking because you're like, hold on. If I want to attract these free agents, I got to be good.
Right. Because
they'll go to good teams. Number 2, if you're in the second apron, you don't get a pick. You can't sign them. Because that's
we don't have to worry about picks. We don't have to worry about picks.
No. I'm saying you can't sign.
Okay.
Just like, if you're in the second apron, you can't sign.
Right.
You can't sign a free agent if you're in the second apron. You have no money.
Right.
So now they don't get any of these players. So now you're going to be a little bit more cost effective, or you'll be like, hey, we're good. We're a second apron team. Excuse me. So now those top teams, those Lakers, those whoever, they're out of the mix anyways.
Well, are we though, Tone? And here's why I'm saying that now, and I want you to stay right there. But
Okay.
keep going.
Okay, let me finish. So those second apron teams move on. Now, if they want to make trades and do whatever to get that free agent, hey, that's sure. But then they have to give up something, right? So now you've eliminated second apron.
Mm-hmm.
First apron teams are limited in how many of these first year. This is just for rookies. How many of these first year players they can sign and how much they can pay them. So, for example, I'm a team like Utah. I'm under the cap, and I want to get better. So I'm just making up a number here. I can sign as many of these first-year rookies as I want, and I can pay them up to, I'm again making up a number, $15 million a year. First apron teams can only sign a max of 2, let's say, or 3, whatever we'll figure out the number. But they can only pay them a maximum of 5 or 7 million. So now you're still incentivizing the lower teams, the bad teams, to get better by they get the first pick of those best players. Now, after the certain time runs out, okay, now then it opens up and they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's a way where now the draft goes away. You've eliminated, again, this is all on the basis of tanking is your biggest issue, which I don't think it is, but that's a different conversation.
I don't think it is neither.
I don't think it's the biggest issue, but I'm saying if that's what we're using as the baseline is understanding that if tanking is the biggest issue, now that does eliminate it, because if you're going to get better, if you're going to get those players to want to be on your team, and you're in Milwaukee, in Minnesota, unfortunately in Toronto, you're going to have to be a good team because they won't sign with you unless you're good, or at least have the potential to be good. Yep. So you incentivize them by, you're going to be able to sign them, you can give them more money. And if I'm 19 years old, do I want to go play for, because I'm not talking about this top tier teams because they're second. Yep. Do I want to go play for, give me a middle of the road team? Atlanta for 7 million? Or do I want to go to Utah for 15? Mm-hmm. Now I got to think about it. Mm-hmm. Now I got to think about it.
Yes, you do.
And so if you're going to eliminate the draft, that's the only way it works, because if you just say everybody's a free agent, go nuts, then you might as well get rid of the bottom 10 teams.
So, that's where my issue, and you said there's a lot to unpack here. So
there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. And I think you made some interesting points. So first and foremost,
I'm going to call you.
If we're at the second apron, right? All right. If we're at the second apron, I think the first thing, if I have an opportunity to get AJ DeBosta, right? If I have an opportunity to get Darren Peterson, if I have an opportunity to get Caleb Wilson, and I'm in the middle of the road, if I'm Atlanta, if I'm Miami, if I'm one of those middle teams, if I'm Phoenix, well, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to shed some of this dead weight. We've seen this countless times, Tone, where teams have emptied guys off of their roster because free agency is coming. We've had great draft classes. We've had great free agency classes. So we've had teams, I'm going to shed this contract. I'm going to trade this guy. I'm going to shed this contract because I'm going to open up $5 million. I'm going to open up $10 million here. If I'm going to do that, if I'm going to do that, that's going to help me get from under the second or the first apron. That's number one. Number two, we have to have a rookie scale. The rookie scale, I think, has to stay where it is. Because what can't happen, the problem that we're having is if you end up not having a draft and we don't have a rookie scale, and they're true free agents, Tone. Remember that now. Like, I'm not just coming here in the NBA at a college and I'm signing for $30 million a season for the next 3 years. No, I can actually get what I'm asking for. For example, Wemby. Wemby comes to San Antonio as a free agent. I mean, can San Antonio afford to pay him 4 years, $120 million? Considering, because again, and if they do that, like, who else do we have on the crew? And on top of that, if Wemby has his pick of where to go, and by the way, Tone, this isn't me picking between the 6 best teams in the league. This is me picking between all, like, I'm looking at the list of all 30 teams, which works best for me. All right, San Antonio, great weather, no state tax, great tradition. What kind of money situation are they in? How are they going to build this unit around me?
Right.
If I end up going there,
just think about it. You actually have to do a sales job. You have to recruit a player just like they do in college.
Very much like college. Very much like they do in college.
Why not?
And here's the problem with that, Tone. There's a reason why the best players in the country end up at Duke and North Carolina and Kansas and UCLA and these schools. And there's a reason why
in the NBA, how many guys come in first overall picks that don't pan out, 5th overall picks that don't pan out.
And see, that's where it gets tricky, Tone. And the reason why it gets tricky there is because those first round picks, that first overall pick, that second overall pick, these guys, that's the front office not doing their job. That's the front office knowing things like this guy's motor is different. And when I say different, I don't mean different in a good way. This guy's motor isn't as good as everybody. He's a head case. He's a problem in college. He doesn't show up to workouts. I don't know if he really loves playing basketball that much. And you've done your due diligence with this guy, right? You already did that with him. Only to find out that you still signed him to 3 years, $60 million when he just got out of school as a free agent. Now, I find myself back right at the bottom of the league because I screwed this up. Tone, let's be clear about one thing. Just because I'm the Lakers does not mean that somebody is going to come there. No, the reason why, but to combat your argument, and I want to make sure I'm clear, the reason why Oklahoma City is who they are is because of the draft. The reason why San Antonio, the reason why, yes, they are.
Because SJ wasn't drafted, SJ was traded for. And
One year over there after year one. After year one, okay, sure. After year one,
they made a good trade, and then they got draft capital. But instead of draft capital, they would have had financial capital, and then that money allows them to sign all those same players.
But here's the difference, though, Tone. If they have that money, I'm not coming to Oklahoma City because you guys are garbage. I don't want to. Remember, Tone, I think the thing that people forget is, as a basketball player, I'm only playing basketball for a couple hours a day. You're not going to live here. Like, there's other stuff I got going on. Do I really want to live in Oklahoma City? Do I want to live in Portland? I'm 21 years old.
I would love to, but
like, do I want to live? Do I want to live in Minnesota? Like,
no,
I'm not.
No, I don't. No.
Right? Do I want to live in Salt Lake City? Because I got to live here.
But that being said, they will. Like, if I'm paying you $15 million, I'm just using 15 as a number. I'm paying you $15 million to live in Minnesota versus $5 million to live in Phoenix.
Can I make that money back though, Tone? If I lived in Atlanta, if you paying me in Salt Lake City, you paying me $12 million, but I go to Atlanta for that $7 million, or if I end up in Brooklyn for that $7 million, I can make that $5 million back in other ventures.
Yeah,
and other
but I'm paying it right back in rent.
Yeah, that's true too.
Cost of taxes,
the cost of living, right? The cost of living. So I just think that abolishing. I say that to say,
by the way, it has to be a prerequisite. By the way, that's one of the prerequisites. Is they all got to take a financial course.
I say that to say abolishing the draft. The reason why these teams are what they are because it's difficult to attract players to these organizations.
100%, and that's why I said I wouldn't do it. But if I did,
this is how you would do it.
There would be so many different things. And let me just quickly say, so we got two things. So in TikTok, there's someone who said, and this is important, will they even care about what a team is going to do, or will they only care about the money? That's one of the things. On YouTube, how about have a computer generate a randomized draft order? Record means nothing. Yeah, that's what was the problem. That's how Orlando got Shaq and Penny. That's how, right? There was, which is why they came out with kind of skewing the numbers to let the bottom teams get a better chance of those top picks so that they can get better. Yep. The issue with that, however, is that now there's all these conspiracies about, well, do they fix the draft? Right? And so this eliminates that too. You can't fix it if there is no draft.
No, you can't.
There's no frozen envelopes if there is no draft.
Can't. Nope, you cannot. I just think that these teams, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, in addition to Minnesota, Portland, Utah, New Orleans, it's a double-edged sword because on the one hand, we got to hold these teams, we got to hold their feet to the fire. You guys have to draft correctly. You guys have to get this.
Yeah, right. These teams though that are on the bottom and they get top 5 picks every year and they still suck.
Well, see, that's the problem, right? And there has to be some some recourse when it comes to that because we can't just keep giving you Zion Williamson and Trey Murphy and then you get Fears and then you get Queen, but yet you're still at the bottom of the league. What are you guys doing in New Orleans? Like, what's happening here? I'm not a, to be honest with you, Tone. I've never really been opposed to, like, at the end of the season, teams like losing a couple of games at the end of the season to get a better pick, because I know that that's how you build your team. Like, it's a difference between, like, we're in February and you're just losing games, because there is no guarantee that I'm gonna get the number 1 pick in the draft if I'm 12-55 or I'm 12-67 or 12-68.
Pretty good odds, but yeah.
I do have a pretty good shot. But if I know that we're close to the end of the season and it's the last 10 games, I am trying to get a better draft spot. Yes, I am. We're not making the playoffs, and I think the fans recognize that too. The fans recognize that we're not making the playoffs. They know, because we're here. They know what the draft class is, and they know who the guys are that are going to be really good. And people know that this 26th draft is a draft that's going to be enormous. There's going to be some really good players in this draft.
Yeah, this is a big one, but again, there's nothing guaranteed with those picks either.
No, it's not. I mean, the draft is a crapshoot, Tone. I think we know that.
Yeah, like Greg Oden went over KD.
Right, Greg Oden did go over KD.
It happens, right? So, Jokic went in the second round. So again, I don't think I'd abolish the draft, but I'm saying if they put in fail safes to make it easier and more advantageous for the bottom teams to sign these guys, there is a method to the madness that could work, because you think in other sports there are some sports that don't have drafts, and there's other sports where you're drafting kids out of high school and you're just sitting them through your farm system, like baseball, for years and years and years. And some of them never even pan out, but they'll sign a 14-year-old kid and just have them, owned by the rights to for a long time. So, you were in Los Angeles.
I was
for the All-Star game. Were you actually, I know that you guys did a lot of content stuff. Were you actually at the events or the games? And was it as empty as it looked on TV?
Well, we didn't go to the All-Star game. Okay. But the events, those things were pretty, they were pretty raucous. I had an opportunity to talk to, and I think I showed it to you, Tone. I had an opportunity, for those of you guys that are at home that haven't seen this. I thought I sent this to you, Tone. I did not.
You did not send it.
Yeah, I thought I
did. You
sent
me nothing from the All-Star game.
I thought I sent this to you. I did not, and I do apologize for that. So let me.
And I needed some cheering up this weekend.
Yes, sir. I do know that. So yeah, man, I had an opportunity, and Tone would have definitely appreciated this, because I had an opportunity to.
Hey, AC Green, and I can't make out the. Oh, Byron Scott. Let's go.
So I had an opportunity to have a conversation with those guys, and I mean, Byron and AC were really cool dudes, and it was great to actually talk to them.
I love it. When they coming up
and talk basketball, which I'm glad you brought that up, Tone, because I did slip them. I slipped them my phone number, and I was like, "Yo, this is the podcast, and if it's possible, if I can get you guys on, that would be great. I would really enjoy that." So awesome. Yeah, Tone, I've been
was it empty? Be honest.
The game, which, to be honest with you, there's some people who they missed out, because I'm glad you brought that up, Tone. This All-Star game that we had this year, it's the most watched All-Star game since 2010, right? And so, with that being said, I have to ask, Tone, because I know we got to move out. I know we got to move out of here. We're running out of time. Is the All-Star game back?
I think when you change the format, you will get a spike by people who want to see, want to see what's new and what's good. Does this mean they will come back if you keep the same format? That's what we don't know yet. So I enjoyed the format. I have a couple of fixes for the All-Star game if you'd like. So I got two. So my first All-Star fix is the East and West. It sounds like the East and West is done.
Yes,
which
it
is
is.
sad. Which is too
corny.
Bad. Too bad. It's too bad.
Just so you know, Tone, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, that's next. Just so you know. Yeah, that's next.
Oh yeah, actually, I actually think they should do East, Mid, West,
Yeah.
Actually, I think they should do West, Central, and East, especially if they add in the two new teams. I actually did it. I'll share it with you, and then we'll talk about it next week because we're short on time. But I'll share it with you because I have a way that's separated and makes it actually kind of even, and you can bring in a couple of the new teams, et cetera. But here are my fixes for the All-Star game. All right, one. So since we're going to eliminating East and West, and we're really just going to then make up teams, because let's be honest, even the World team had, I think, 2 guys on it that were not World guys. Anyways, you can just they're going to make teams out of it, and so I like the format of the tournament style thing. It worked out well. But I think here's what we do now. So we're going to say, okay, we're picking 24 players, if that's the number.
Yep, that's it.
Or we go to 30 because we want 3 teams of 10.
I wanted to. I actually want the roster to be 15 guys, but keep going.
Oh, that's too much. 45 is too much. That's 10% of the league.
No. 30 guys, 15 guys on each roster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. But I like I said, there's probably going to be. I think they like the 3-team tournament, so it might go to 10. That being said, you just let the fans vote for their 30, and those are the ones that get in. Those 30 are the only ones that are allowed to compete, and they have to compete if called upon in the 3-point contest, the dunk off, and the shooting challenge, whatever.
The skills contest.
Now, I actually would take it a step further and say the fans get to vote who does those events, but I know that's some guys will just say no. But of those 30, only those guys. Sorry, I'm not bringing in whoever to do a 3-point shootout. I'm not bringing a guy, even though he won, in Dame Lillard, who hasn't played 1 second this season and just went in and shot a bunch of threes because ridiculous. Okay. However, Fluent Jr., are you still in the building? Fluent Jr. has, I think there's a tweak to it, but he actually has an idea that might save the dunk contest. So I'm gonna take these off and let him explain this new dunk off idea. Please share with the world.
So I think they should make 2 teams of 10.
I thought you said 5.
5, yeah. 2 teams of 5 that have 3 of the best pro dunkers and 2 of the best NBA players on each team.
So I don't have to be in the NBA. I could just be a dunker.
Yeah, three of the professional full-time dunkers. 2 NBA players, and that's a team of 5. And then those two teams, I guess, do their best dunks.
Yeah.
And then the highest team score, the team wins.
Yeah.
So now we don't have an individual dunk champion. Now what we have is we got the best dunk team.
And you're bringing in these dunkers from around the world who that's all they do, and their dunks are sick.
How about that? I mean, to be honest with you, that doesn't sound like a bad idea, because you know what happens now? Nephew? What happens now is that I get the other audience. It's basically like being a rapper that's on the radio, but he's also rhyming with underground rappers. Like he's rhyming with the rappers that, nobody's listening to on the radio. He's rhyming with the rappers that you see in small clubs. So now I get that dude, I get his audience in addition to my audience, and then he gets my audience in addition to his audience, and it becomes a bigger deal. I don't hate that idea. I like it.
I was thinking making the team smaller, but 5-on-5. I was thinking like 3, 2 pros, 1 NBA.
I don't hate it.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
I don't hate it at all. I do like it. Adam, if you're listening, we got an idea for the dunk contest.
We're gonna clip this and send it to Adam Silver. We've already talked about that.
We got an idea.
Because one of the things I hear is that the NBA guys are kind of scared to whatever, because they don't have time to work on their dunks.
Sure.
But now if you have a team and now you're collaborating with guys and they're like, hey, can you do this? Because they have ideas that they do, and maybe, they spend a day together. How great is it for those pro dunkers to even, spend a couple hours with an NBA player? Like, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
They're going to love that. And they can work on stuff together. Like, I was like, wow, that's actually, again, I think I would have a team.
Like, I'm gonna start with this, and then you come in with this right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna come back behind you with this right here.
I'm gonna put on your jersey and do this in-game dunk that you did, but I'm gonna add this to it and be like, oh yeah, that's right.
I hate that. I don't hate it.
I know.
Hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. So yeah, Tony.
We hit the 9 o'clock hour. There is one more thing. There's one more thing we do need to talk about, and then I definitely got to go catch my plane. I'm on a midnight flight, by the way, in case you're wondering. I'm hitting a red eye, but don't worry. Fluent Chill versus Chill versus everyone will still be a go tomorrow. I got some surprises there too. Today is Michael Jordan's birthday.
Happy birthday to number 23. He's 63 today.
63 today. And I've been getting nothing but videos of him after his NASCAR team won. Have you seen him pulling?
Just so you guys know. All right, let's get to the bottom of this.
Nothing but email inbox DMs and stuff from people saying he can't be the GOAT. He's a file. And I'm like, what? And because at first I didn't know what they were talking about because I hadn't seen it. Have you seen the video?
I have seen the video.
Thoughts?
Okay, so Tone, I don't know if you know this, but his team won at NASCAR.
I know exactly. I know. Yeah. Unlike most, I saw this, I did the research and
yes. Yeah. So his team won at. So for you guys at home that don't know, his team won at NASCAR. With his team winning at NASCAR, they had a celebration, and the kid was there at the celebration. We got. Can
I pause you in for a second? The kid, by the way, is the driver's son who is employed by Michael Jordan, who I'm told by people who know more about NASCAR than I do, they spend a lot of time together, not Jordan and the child, Jordan and his driver, and the families are very close. So he knows this kid like a grandson, is what I'm told. Okay.
Right. So they end up winning, and they celebrate. With them celebrating, we got the water, we got the Gatorade and all of that stuff getting dumped on everybody. And the kid is involved in that. So the kid ends up getting some ice down his shirt. In the process of the kid getting some ice down his shirt, Jay, who also has kids and is a father and a grandfather, knows how that works. He's trying to help the kid get the ice out of his shirt. That's all it is.
And he did say my leg is itchy, and so he does rub his leg as well.
He's trying to get the ice out of his shirt. That's all this was. But you goofballs at home, and yes, I'm saying goofballs, because you're just looking for anything to trash people. This was nothing more than Jay just being a concerned guy. That's it. And helping out. This was nothing else.
I will say again, I'm torn because all of the things you said are true. And he was just trying to pull the ice and whatever, all that stuff. And everything you said is true. However, in today's world, you can't do it. Like it sucks. But it looks bad. You're touching another person's child, and people are always looking for something to tear you down, and it's sad that people are trying to sexualize what was a very innocent.
It was dumb
thing.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was me with my nephew, and he got ice down his shirt.
Yeah, like
getting the ice out of his shirt, and he's got an itch in his leg.
I got it said to me so many times. It's like we need to kind of
give me a break.
It's you can't like what seems to be a innocent thing. You got to not
which
even.
Is what it was, Tone, by the way. Which is what it was. This isn't a situation where I have to be torn about this. Well, you can't do that. Man, you guys are making this more than what it is. And I'm on record saying this. I've said this to a number of different people. This is how people end up in the penitentiary for stuff that they didn't do. Because assumptions. There's plenty of people who are in jail because people say they saw something when in reality, they didn't see that. We went back and looked, and that's not what happened. And with Jay, all this was me with my niece or my nephew, and he's got ice in his shirt, and I'm getting the ice out of his shirt, and I'm patting the kid on the can to get the ice out of his shirt to make sure that it's all out, and that's it. That's it.
To sexualize something, and like I had someone send me, he's like, that proves he's a pedo like his father, and I'm like, dude, like. And that's why he's not the GOAT. And I'm like, so even if, which it's not, even if that's something, what does one thing have to do with the other?
Nothing. This has nothing. You're getting distracted.
You're so desperate to try and take down this man,
right?
That you would do that. All right.
Unbelievable.
The last thing, because 100 people have said, what about the Kevin Durant files? What about the Durant files? What about the?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that another time. We got you guys.
You don't want to talk about it?
Give me a break.
I don't even know anything about it.
Yeah, I'm good. Tone, it's gossip. That's all it is, Tone. It's gossip.
You don't think he has another burner account?
No, it's gossip. That's all it is. It's
You
gossip.
sure?
Yeah, it's gossip. And
Because I know he's not a superstar, and I know he has burner accounts.
yeah, it's gossip, Tone.
I think
It's a whole bunch of stuff that was ran down, that it was quoted. Nobody said that he said it. The burner account wasn't the burner account wasn't linked to him directly. All of these quotes were. I'm good, man. I've never been in, and that's probably why.
Next week conspiracies. KD's burners and something else. Check
That's
us out.
probably why we're not as big a deal, because I don't do gossip. I just don't. I don't do gossip. I've never been a gossip dude. I never will be a gossip dude. That shit just does not, and I'm sorry for the language, but it just does not. It doesn't appease me. I don't enjoy it. It's gossip. It's dumb. No.
So you don't want to start a new show, Fluent and Chill Gossip?
No, I'm sorry, Tone.
Gossip boys, gossip
No.
guys.
Mm-mm.
Oh, gossip guys. There it is.
No.
Gossip guys.
You're gonna have to get somebody else to do that. I just
Come
don't
on.
do gossip. I'm good, man.
Yes,
Sorry.
I do, Chef. I do. Anyone who wants to be the co-host of Gossip Guys,
Knock yourselves out.
yeah,
Don't do gossip.
DM me. We will start it up.
Mm-mm.
We'll kick it tomorrow. Fluent versus Chill versus everyone. I think TikTok. Goodbye. I love you.
You guys know where to find us, man. Absolutely. We are here every Tuesday and Wednesday. That's my man Tony Tone. That's Fluent. I'm Chill. This is where we are every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night, 8:30 to 9:30. Fluent and Chill versus everyone, right here on the Chill Town Hoops Network and Sports Fluent Network. So we will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. We'll talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was dope.
Thanks for watching Fluent and Chill. Don't forget to like and subscribe every Tuesday at 8 p.m.